My father has never let me accept anything handed through a car window. I just found out the horrifying reason why. It's been the rule my entire life. We never went through drive-thrus, never rolled down windows for toll booths if we could use exact change. If we were parked and anyone approached the car, my father would start the engine immediately. Once when I was 8, we were in a McDonald's line because my mother insisted, and when I reached toward the window to take the bag, my father grabbed my arm so hard it left a bruise. He apologized for days, but we never went through a drive-thru again. I asked about it once as a teenager. He said windows were vulnerabilities, said people approached cars for all kinds of reasons and none were worth the risk. I stopped questioning, figured he had some irrational quirk. I'm 26 now, got engaged last month to a man my father likes. We were at my parents' house talking about the wedding, and my fiance joked about the drive-thru rule, asked if we'd have to park and walk in everywhere on our honeymoon road trip. The table went quiet. My mother looked at my father with an expression I'd never seen, not embarrassed, almost asking permission. He set down his fork and was silent for a long time, then said he supposed I was old enough to know. Asked if I remembered him ever mentioning his sister. I said no. I didn't know he had a sister. Her name was Lily, born when he was 8, the most beautiful baby with blonde curls. She followed him everywhere once she could walk. She was 2 years old the day she was taken. My father was 10. They were in the car with their mother, stopped at a red light. A woman approached the driver's window looking friendly, asking for directions. My grandmother rolled down the window because that's what people did in 1987. The woman handed a paper through the window, something for my grandmother to look at. While her attention was on the paper, a man opened the back door. My father was on one side. Lily was in her car seat on the other. The man unbuckled her, lifted her out, and walked away. Lily was never found. His mother never recovered. Blamed herself for rolling down the window, for looking at the paper. She checked into a psychiatric facility when he was 12 and never fully came back out. His father drank himself through a divorce and an early grave. My father was raised by an aunt, carrying the weight of a sister who vanished while he sat 3 feet away, too shocked to move. He blamed himself for not grabbing her, for not screaming louder. He carried that guilt for 40 years, built his entire life around protecting me from windows and strangers, and anything that might reach in and take what he loved. Every time he grabbed my arm from a drive-thru window, he was seeing Lily's car seat. The rule was never about fast food. It was about a 2-year-old named Lily who disappeared through a car door in 1987 and was never seen again. That's what I expected the story to end. That's the horrifying reason I'd braced for. But my father wasn't finished. 3 years ago, he got a phone call from a number he didn't recognize. A woman said her name was Margaret, and she needed to talk about someone named Lily. He almost hung up, assumed it was a scam, but something made him stay. She said she'd just found out she was adopted. Her mother had died and left behind documents she was never supposed to see. Birth certificates that didn't match. A newspaper clipping about a missing toddler. A confession letter never sent. The woman who took Lily wasn't a stranger. She'd lost her own daughter to illness 6 months earlier and had broken completely from grief. She saw a blonde toddler and made a decision that destroyed 2 families in 30 seconds. Margaret was Lily, raised as someone else in another state. A whole life, career, family. She never knew until her mother's death confession. She wanted my father to know she was alive, that the guilt he'd carried for 40 years was over something that hadn't ended the way he thought. My father met his sister last year. She came to our house, stood in our living room, and he held her for 20 minutes without speaking. She doesn't remember the kidnapping, only knows the life she lived afterward, which wasn't bad, just built on a lie. She calls herself Margaret because that's who she's been for 40 years. But she's learning to be Lily again. The woman who took her is dead. No one to prosecute. Just 2 people who lost each other and somehow found their way back. My father still doesn't let me accept things through car windows. Some trauma rewires you permanently, even when the reason resolves unexpectedly. But the weight is different now. Lighter. The sister he thought was dead for 40 years is alive and well and coming to my wedding in June. The horrifying reason ended with something he never got to imagine. A phone call. A sister. A second chance at the ending. I still keep my windows up. Not because I'm afraid, but because my father earned that rule with 40 years of grief. Some things you carry for the people you love, even when the horror turns out to have a different ending. Even when the nightmare finally lets you wake up.